look, I think
supporting them.
I think we can be honest, it's cool to be a bro fan.
Exactly. And I think that the bro leavers in chat are also ready to be bro fans.
Yeah, I don't know.
Donating all of their points, and this time around, their points might be safe.
I don't know if you saw, there's a lot of interviews with Christopher Nolan with the release of his recent film.
Yeah,
and I believe one of them,
I've seen a lot of those.
I believe one of them he said, "Bro is my favorite LCK team."
No, I think that was in the Vice interview. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. I think his next plan is a documentary.
Yeah.
On Bro. So look forward to that.
It's similar to, like, honestly, with Christopher Nolan, it's like watching Henry Cavill interviews, and he like calls himself a nerd all the time.
Yeah.
Like Christopher Nolan, he's like calling himself a bro fan. It's like, we get it, dude. Like, you don't need to talk about it all the time. Anyway, let's.
If he's a true fan, we'll see him in chat any second now.
Yeah, no, he's probably already there. He's probably calling his T1 bias in the chat. That's probably what's happening. All right, well, T1 will be on the blue side to start things off. We can see that the Kai'Sa and the Tristana have both been banned away. Poppy also going to be removed as Nico finally taken off the board. And T1, LeBlanc going to be taken away. This is a little bit of a worry. We've seen LeBlanc really slipping, and this gives Umpty Sejuani.
Yeah, and especially you could go Sejuani Renekton as well. Morgan obviously phenomenal at champ, one of his best, and he has been performing super well recently, so got a lot of confidence to pick up the LeBlanc early for Poby, but I'm not too confident in the pick itself. Azir is often something that we see LeBlanc picked into, can obviously harass from distance, but I think most Azirs have been surviving the laning phase pretty fine against it, so we'll see what they opt for. If they go Azir Sejuani here, they could go like Jax on 3 if Renekton's taken by T1, and obviously Sejuani Jax really good in the Renekton. But going in a bit of a different direction here. Want to secure the AD carry pickup with Kai'Sa banned away. Aphelios kind of standing up as that higher prio pick left available. We'll see if T1 opt to go in the direction of something like the Sejuani plus top laner for Zeus angle.
Yeah, I actually find it very interesting that they don't take away the Sejuani. Sejuani Aphelios could have been a decent way to do it, but also these Sejuani LeBlanc compositions have been falling flat on their face.
Yeah.
And so we are going to see the Jax Sejuani locked in. What does Pro have? Because they know that this is what was happening, right? And we need to see some sort of big brain answer to what was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I feel like I could imagine them going for like a Gragas angle, as it's decent into Jax, but you know, with the nerfs, he hasn't been holding up as well in lanes, it's been a bit lower priority. Renekton would be very risky, but also very Morgan. So
yes.
you know, I could kind of vibe with that, but he's gone for the safer option. He's gone for the Gragas in this situation, so good at dealing with the melee threat of the Jax, and obviously T1 investing heavily in the top side with this rotation has meant that they haven't picked up their AD carry. I think Xayah would make a lot of sense as a ban. You know, Xayah Rakan still open and available for the side of T1.
Yeah, plenty of things to be taken away here. The Xayah is going to be the first one that is taken off the board. Melio and Aphelios together have been pretty strong, so that one will be denied on the side of T1. Still, efforts pick up to be locked in. I'd expect an R4 jungler, and you don't need to necessarily then worry about Rel and things like that. Effort is a fantastic Alistar player, or has been in the past.
Maybe if it was like Samira Rel, it could be, but to be honest, into Azir, I think Gragas, I just think it's not going to happen. So realistically, yeah, Draven makes a lot more sense. Jinx is open and available as something T1 could go towards. There's definitely options. It's just, I feel like once you get past like that Kai'Sa, Aphelios, Xayah, the pool widens, but they're definitely a lot lower priority in terms of what you want to pick up. T1 actually banning away the Blitzcrank, weirdly enough, considering, you know, we often only really see Blitzcrank bans if you're planning to pick Melio, but they also ban Melio, so not sure
now you really don't expect Melio. Not only is he banned, but the counters are also banned. Yeah, no, I don't understand. As that is Askana. That's going to be locked in here for Umpty. Maybe this was the plan all along. The anti-Sejuani Bristle synergy or expectation. And then the Askana comes out. Keria back on his Thresh, though. Jinx Thresh, a lot of safety towards the bottom side of the map. And we know what Keria can do on this champion.
Yep, that kind of explains the Blitzcrank ban, you know, often picked into the Thresh. And also, Skarner's going to have a hard time ever getting on top of a key target when the Lantern is there to play around with. Obviously, though, going to be a bit trickier for Zeus to have impact in teamfights when there is a Skarner, when there is a Azir and a Gragas bouncing you up and around. And it looks like Brion might just go towards that Rakan in this situation.
Not historically fantastic into Thresh.
Yeah, it can be played out of it. But I think if you just play the lane fairly stably, you're still going to have that engaged potential in teamfights. I don't think you're too concerned. ultimately T1, you know, they have a scaling bot side. They have a top laner who they can play through, but the Gragas might cause some issues. I'm interested to see how much impact can make on this Skarner, though. Obviously, some decent skirmishing power in the early levels, good gank potential, and we have seen him be having that early impact that has really allowed Bro to find the early leads in some of these games.
I'm actually very interested to see how this one is going to go, especially towards that top side of the map. Given the fact that Sejuani Jax is so much power, and it's so much power in the hands of Zeus. And Zeus has been extraordinary. Like, the largest improvement I've seen from T1 is him stepping up on the top side of the map when it was sort of all of them together, not really finding too much form after Faker did leave. So I'm a little bit frightened for the Bros when it comes to the top side, but we've seen Morgan be able to mitigate a fair few of these matchups, especially into the Jax on his Gragas. So it could be that they can just weather the storm and then hope that the Jax doesn't become too big, because their early games have been very strong on the side of Bro.
Yeah, they have, and I think I am a little bit concerned about how the laning phase goes, because obviously top side you've talked about, but also bot lane, I think that has been a weakness for Bro at times in the 2v2, and despite everything, despite some rough performances from Keria, Gumayusi and Keria have been pretty solid in the 2v2, finding a lot of 2v2 kills, and there is definitely the potential for that, especially playing the Rakan, something that is quite squishy. If you get hit by a death sentence, that might end up being a death sentence.
Could certainly be. Let's jump into the Rift here for Game 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the first game of the first series of the final day of the week here in the LCK. Bro, they've brought out the Skarner yet again, and he's gone the lawnmower skin. Quite like it. It's not my personal favorite. I kind of like the rocks. I like the rocks one, where he's like all connected together with plants.
Oh, not rocks, tigers.
No,
oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be Peanut. That wouldn't be Skarner. Karis is also on the Easy Hoon hype train that we've seen. Like, everyone's just been picking up Easy Hoon skin on the Azir. I'm actually all for it, and now picking it into T1 as well for the added value.
Yep. Sending that message.
Exactly.
What do you see? What skin Oner has? Is it once again the Pyro Rider?
Oh, I hope not.
I feel like that's just people have.
Why not Zoids, man? Zoid's skin's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. People just that's it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah, it's just that thing where like almost every Sejuani has gotten that skin, and you know, it's a fun skin, but it's like there needs to be some variety.
I feel like Oner does do like the what's the Russian bear one.
I like that one.
That one's pretty cool. But I think he has done that one in the past. So I don't think that that Oner is our biggest offender. I think it's Peanut as the Poro guy more often than not. But we're digressing a little. We do have the laning phase upon us here towards this bottom side as Effort and Keria just sharing some attacks with one another. Effort landing the Gleaming Quill is actually going to be important. I think it was you that was actually telling us about the added sustain of Rakan with landing Q-Poke.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big reason why he really came into the meta is they buffed his Q to like ridiculous levels. Back when it was like Ashe support and stuff, they're like, hey, you know how we can make you survive against Ashe? We'll make it so your Q is like a Soraka heal. There you go. And, you know, then Ashe got nerfed and stuff, and Ashe left the meta, but Rakan still will just win trades by hitting Q once. And you can see very defensive summoners coming out from Brion. Definitely suggesting that they know they're on the back end of this matchup. Jinx good enough Elias, but also just a Thresh from Keria. So we got Cleanse for Henna and Heal for Effort. They really just want to be surviving here, which is kind of the story of their entire comp across the board, you know? I mean, Azir's fine in the early game, don't get me wrong, but like top lane is very much about surviving the Sejuani Jax. So I think Bro are just hoping to get through the early stages without suffering too much.
Yeah, it feels like a weathering of the storm, perhaps. As you can see, T1 able to get that shot, gets the crash, now grab themselves some vision where they would like. I think as far as being able to attack somewhere on the map, though, I think that will be able to set up shop somewhere, and the setup is going to be there, right, from his laners. Like, Effort can go in with the Grand Entrance. You've got Karis, who, when he does hit that level 6, will have the Emperor's Divide to deliver opposition towards This is a very classic Bro comp of if doesn't do stuff in early game, it's probably not going to be great. As BDD is on, 4 wins in a row.
I like how they added that for context. They're like, yeah, this is
we saw this yesterday. He literally did this yesterday against Chovy.
To be fair, BDD is pretty good.
Yeah.
And specifically pretty good at Azir. So, you know, I think that's why we need the added context to basically say that, yeah, you know, if you're this good, you're pretty fine in the matchup. Also helps to be like the top team in the league.
Yeah, and honestly, like, LeBlanc is undefeated against not BDD's Azir.
True.
There we go.
And wait, let me check. It's actually not BDD this game on Azir either. So.
Although it was BDD's former protege in Karis, who did play behind BDD and actually became a much better Azir player as a result, because he wasn't known as an Azir guy. He was more the Lissandra guy coming out of Challenger.
Like that just becomes like the default. If you're behind BDD, you have to improve at Azir. You're like, hey, can we practice, like, you know, maybe some laning on some other champs? He's like, nope. 100 reps of Azir. I gotta teach you how to be a pro.
Yep, there it goes. Henna not going to be allowed to go home. Keria going to go back, collect some souls. And Gumayusi is head by about a wave, as there is a couple of minions here, I guess, for Henna to lap up, but still going fantastically well for the Jinx. One of the oldest of the 200 years matchups. Just try to outrange the Aphelios was always the idea with the Jinx. Seems to be working out just fine, as T1 are going to walk over a plethora, difficult word to say for me right now, as it turns out, a plethora of wards as they head towards this Drake that they should be able to take for free here. Does give Umpty some access to the jungle on the top side.
A lot of prio mid and bot basically means there's no way Bro can contest this. Umpty will just trade for some camps, and the aim for him is get a level 6 as soon as possible. Essentially, get that access to that ultimate. It's really going to be the game plan. And he's going to steal away some camps from Oner here. Should get this, and just have smite, so should be able to get the Gromp and get out if he wanted, but maybe he thinks he doesn't have enough time and wants to back away. Not a huge prize in return for the Dragon, but at least it's something.
He's even going to have his Spire taken away, as Umpty able to grab the one near this Rift Herald, and I think that that is where Bro might try to find a neutral angle. Being able to get in there and take turrets earlier on into this composition is going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I also think just from like a denial perspective, because T1's composition opens up really well into a 1-3-1.
Oh yeah.
With the LeBlanc and the Jackson side lanes. So, you know, the sooner that T1 can open up the map, start taking turrets, especially break that mid-tier 1, the harder it is going to be for Brionne playing into that. And I think, you know, regardless of how much impact Brionne get from the Heralds themselves, denying them would be a massive difference maker.
Oh, Poby actually looking to go aggressive here. It looked a bit strange, but Keria was on his way up, and Karis able to walk his way out. Poby was possibly looking for a bit of a reset time anyway, as Henna finds a Gravitum onto Gumayusi.
I love the little zoom in, like, oh, something gonna happen? And it's like, no, it's just, you know, a little trade.
Yeah.
A little love tap.
Gumayusi actually winning out on the trade, as it turns out, in the end. Anyway, given the range.
Yeah, but he gets hit by the...
Yeah, 2 Infernum autos, and then I am made to feel silly.
I feel like it's so hard to dodge. Like, the AoE that bounces out afterwards is so wide.
And it's annoying.
It's very obnoxious.
As Morgan is going to get stunned up here. Ult comes through from Zeus. Morgan just trying to walk this one out. Does flash in the end. Zeus not going to follow. Flash advantage now for the Jax. Level 7. Morgan will at least be able to get himself a cannon, but this is looking dicey in the top lane.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a misread the cooldown from Zeus, because he didn't have his leap strike quite up again, which I think could have been what he was waiting for. Morgan flashing away there. Didn't have ult as well, which obviously would have meant he was a lot safer, able to disengage. So a good angle found by Zeus, and you know, considering we talked up this Jax Sejuani, we've only really seen the Jax so far. Oner just, you know, picking up the Dragon, nice of course, but not really done too much else other than that.
And Bro keeping it even when it comes to, oh, okay, never mind, Hook is going to land, there's the play, and Battle Dance. So never mind, Effort just going to be able to get out of there, but Keria, his eye is in.
Oh, might look for something else here.
Yeah, Grand Entrance, there's the flash hook, gets the flash out of Effort. I like that Effort waited to make sure it was going to hit, and it definitely was. And then the flash does come through. Plate goes down on the top side of the map, though, as T1 starting to find some of these advantages in the lanes. As Henna with red-white is somewhat formidable, and Oner comes around, has already got a lot of work done on this Rift Herald. Umpty wants nothing to do with it, as the barrel not going to be enough there. Oner kept us guessing for a few moments, but does have Smite, so it is going to be secured. So Rift Herald and Dragon both taken here by T1.
Yeah, and I think honestly throwing down the Rift Herald mid, gonna have a lot of value, just getting some plates, thinning it out. Umpty looking though, potentially for Poby here. It's gonna be hard to pin down the LeBlanc.
Yeah. As Poby does now have the distortion on cooldown. 2-1. And in he goes. All right, Umpty, can we find it? There is the Smite. Does go back to his distortion there, as Umpty not going to be able to find it. Poby, nice little movement there to make sure that he's not in impale range, but it's still going to be a decent trade for Karis.
Yeah, I think they were waiting for Poby to use another ability to lock him out of his ult distortion, and then he never did, so they just went for it, and he's able to outplay. Doesn't even burn the flash, so pretty positive there for Poby overall. The lane phase has been going fine. Obviously, going to have that Shiv soon, which really helps out with the wave clear.
Yeah, it's really nicely done. I like that Umpty didn't go for the flash, because then you go back to your distortion, you get all of the value. So good patience there from Bro. It would have been very embarrassing. It does still mean that Poby's absolutely fine in that mid lane. And Morgan actually ahead in farm. Kind of crazy. But Zeus not behind, and he's the Jax. And now he's going to look for a nice little trade here towards the top side. Morgan realizes he's going the wrong direction, is going to be able to walk his way back. Lost chapter now done, as Oner comes on over to secure the Spire. And Umpty don't like that. He wants to make sure that his Spires are always on his side. Not going to be able to do that for the next little while, though.
Yeah, both teams kind of hovering in setup for this Dragon, trying to contest some vision. But right now, it's Bro who have the priority, and it's actually Poby resetting for the Shiv, but is TPing back in, so looks like Bro just going to back away. They aren't looking to contest this right now. Obviously, if T1 do get that second Dragon, could be very impactful, and so far the pace of the game has been pretty slow, so stacking up those neutrals will really help solidify a strong later stage of the game.
Well, Keria going to move in and does find some vision here. Chain is going to miss, as Poby will take some Sand Soldier damage. Karis doing okay here in this lane, keeping things quite even. And every time he lands these, it means that some of that control over the Drake is kind of mitigated. If you can't just relentlessly dive forward to get those Shiv procs, as Henna will find a Moonlight Vigil onto Gumayusi. That is going to send him home. That may mean that T1 cannot actually do too much about this Dragon, although Gumayusi does still have his ultimate available, so can offer assistance from a distance. Didn't need for that to rhyme.
And yet it did. Yeah. Good job. Yeah, Herald throwing down mid. Karis is there to defend it, but Bro, with the chunk out from Henna onto Gumayusi, they're confident just to start up this Dragon, and I think T1, they'll probably go for a steal here with the Thresh Lantern, so let's see if they can get it.
Yeah, and in they go. That is going to be the secure from Umpty. And it was a cute little attempt, and you get, I guess you just don't really need to take too many risks here. And it is a Cloud Soul now, so with both teams having one Drake, the triple threat Cloud into Soul available for both teams.
That'd be so fast.
Oh, so fast.
And you know what's going to be great? Skarner with Cloud Soul, when you impale them, and then go max 7.
Yeah.
Running back to your team.
It's even better with Gumayusi, because he gets excited just from pressing the Super Mega Death Rocket.
True.
That's how it works, right?
And if he gets a kill as well, then he's really excited.
Really excited. Super Mega excited Death Rocket. That's how it kind of goes. Zeus going to be able to get out of the way of these barrels, but Morgan having a pretty good time. Continuing to. As the AP Gragas has been still working, even though the passive did get nerfed. We thought that maybe this would affect matchups like this. Hasn't really for Morgan, who's been the one that's most likely to very happily go back to the Gragas in this matchup.
I think it's kind of testament to how strong Gragas was. I think the meta has shifted a bit. We've seen a lot more like carries in the top lane, but the fact he can kind of just chill and survive on the back of that passive despite a pretty significant nerf shows he was pretty obnoxious to deal with.
Yep. It's not going to be the case forever, although he will get more and more wave clear. The Jax will become less answerable as this game goes on. But right now, there are not really too many questions being asked, right? We're talking about answerable. Like, you need to be actually doing stuff. And there's not a lot of stuff being done, especially on the side of Bro. T1, probably the team that does have a little bit more onus on them to get things happening. But even then, they win sides so hard that maybe they don't even need to worry, because in the late game, perhaps team fights are just not going to be what T1 needs to win.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, take a lot of orchestration and isn't the easiest win condition despite everything.
True, yeah.
And also, you know, despite the fact that we have this Jax Sejuani in the top lane, we have this winning bot 2v2, nothing's really come from it. Like, Keria traded flashes with effort, and then it's kind of just been nothing since, and they're both back up and available. So, considering we said that Bro's hope was to kind of weather the storm, they weathered it pretty well. You know, they were in like a storm bunker.
If Morgan had just thrown a barrel, believed in his Everfrost, that could have been a dead Zeus there.
Very much so, and now he's getting collapsed on.
Yeah, flash does come through. Morgan not going to risk it up against Oner as Gumayusi is real quick. Umpty was terrified. He was so confused about what just happened there that he didn't press his R button.
He just wouldn't expect a Jinx to come running past him, so he just didn't know what to do with it.
And, okay, Glacial Prison comes down, and Poby is going to collect first blood. He just paid a visit to the top lane, and Oner had never left.
Yeah, good play, and obviously you can just stick that LeBlanc up in the top side, opening up into sort of a 1-3-1 setup here with the Jinx mid. Does mean they will sacrifice this bot tier 1 though, and in return they're going to try and pick up the Herald on the top side. So positive for T1, all things considered, but does obviously allow Hedda to get a decent amount of gold on this Aphelios.
Yeah, we do have the turret traded though. So first turret blood is going to be the real thing, but first blood actually goes over to T1. So they will be able to trade up, absolutely. And so now with the mid-game kind of upon us, this is where I think T1 are going to be happy to start making some of these moves, getting some of these setups, because a couple of items for the LeBlanc makes her an absolute threat in a side lane, being so frustrating. As Morgan just kind of gets chained, and then prisoned. Yeah,
just I think obviously he expected, oh, I've evaded the gank from Sejuani, I'm good, Jax is too low, but the fact that Poby had been missing on the map for so long, a bit more respect needed to be paid there. And now Herald in pocket for T1. We even saw the observers kind of zoom in on the mid tier 1 that had already been chunked out by the previous Herald. Expectation is we'll just see them taking that tower, and that will really allow the map to open up and, as you were saying, play into that 1-3-1 that they have in their composition.
Yep. And next Drake going to be coming up in 40 seconds time. This could be the first honest team fight between these two teams. 2,000 gold, the approximate lead for T1. A little bit lower than that right now. Still, I think Bro can certainly team fight very effectively with a composition like this. I think eyes are going to be drawn to Umpty. Where is that Impale going to go? Yeah. And Karis, can he land that big Emperor's Divide? And there are a couple of ways to make it work as well. Like, you can rely on Umpty to get in there, find that ultimate, and then Emperor's Divide the person even further away, take them out of the fight, and then win from there. But I think it depends which target you're actually trying to lock down. Poby, very slippery. Zeus as well, going to be very slippery as Poby gets on top of effort here. Does take half of his health bar. Umpty in the vicinity. Oner over here as well. So the Drake is now live. Karis, that bottom side, I think, knows exactly what Poby is doing, but Henna not really close to this one. That hook was fantastic from Keria, but
sending a message
come from it. Yeah,
you know that he can land these. I think, you know, T1 doing a good job of controlling the area. There is that ward there that is slipped by their vision, and so Bro struggling to move in. And I think obviously with this composition they have really good peeling backwards, so they want to be there on the objective first and foremost. And T1 are just not allowing that to happen. Going to use the Herald mid as well to really solidify this pressure, and that tower is just going to be gone.
Yep, that's going to be taken out, and now T1 going to be able to move towards this Drake with a much longer mid lane for Bro to walk down if they do want to get there. This ward though, oh my goodness,
such a value.
Amount of value. Just absurd as Morgan is going to make his way in. So the Lord hasn't entered the fray, and the Jax now moving up towards the rest of his team now as well. Umpty looking for a little bit. Not able to find too much though as Henna gets zapped.
And the waves gets obliterated, which is, yeah, really a lot of counterplay there.
Yeah.
We do see T1 trying to set up for the pick, and again, that ward is going to time out soon, but it's done so much for them in terms of providing information.
Well, Umpty, if he does manage to find the enemy jungler, it's going to be decent. Umpty does have an extra charge of that one as Poby looks to find a little bit more aggression. It does get it there onto Henna. And Bro going to realize that they need to actually go for things. Hook going to find the middle there. 6 points for Keria. And Morgan gets here towards the rest of his team. Zeus Not really close by, has teleport. Morgan does not. That's why he has to rotate over earlier.
This is big for Bro. They finally got position on the objective. This is what their goal was. And now they are getting harassed a bit, but Umti has so much threat with that ultimate.
Yeah.
Target gets too close.
Is looking for them now. The rest of the team getting to work on this Drake. It loses interest though. Back into the pit now as Poby does need to be a little bit careful, but I think he's playing on the edge pretty nicely at this point in time. Should just be a smite fight as now the hook comes forward. There's the Glacial Prison onto Effort, but not exactly the priority target. As Effort, he's got the Severum back, the Graviton doing a little bit of work, but it's not a lot of damage. Effort has to get out of there, and T1's health bars are still massive. Bro have just been pushed out here as Effort does get back. Emperor's Duide is good defensively as Henna going to be okay for now. Now the red-white guns do come in, and now he is scary. Gumayusi, not exactly full health, but still has a fair bit to work with. Keria running out of mana at this point in time, but he should still have a hook or two in him. Still, they are going to back away, and that is first Cloud going over to Bro. The war of attrition won by OK Savings Bank Freon.
And you know what I actually want to shout out is the Rakan Qs so often just used off the dragon. It actually made such a big difference because constantly Poby was looking for this harass. But the thing is with Rakan is you can see their effort. Qs the dragon, heals Karis up, Karis does get poked out, but it was like a constant theme in this fight, just sustaining up with the Qs on the dragon. And we see here, obviously the engage doesn't quite find purchase for T1. They do chunk them out. Zeus tries to go for this big play, but Karis beautifully played to disengage. And then once again, both teams a little bit low on health, but Effort will just keep queuing the dragon, once again, healing everyone up, making them a little bit healthier, and T1 just feel like they can't approach. A big factor was they had that initial Zeus flank, and then at the end of the fight, they were all grouped together, and they just thought, nah, we can't do this.
Yep, and big shout-outs to Henna as well. Used Gale Force to get out of that as well, and so T1 felt even less confident because they didn't get the flash out of the Aphelios. Yeah, so he just holds on to all of his summoner spells, just has to use the item, and so Henna, once again, continuing to find himself some of these moments in so many of their more recent games. And that gold lead still sitting at 2,000. Nothing really to worry about for Bro. You mentioned biding your time. Well, biding it they are. And now have a dragon advantage as well. That is a big buffer. We are going to be looking at a game where most likely 3 items will be picked up for both of these teams.
And you know,
that's where Bro looks good.
That is where they look good, and I really like the setup they've gone for, where they have the Gragas matching LeBlanc and the Azir matching the Jax. Jax should never really pose much of a threat to an Azir. Can obviously just disengage with his dash, but also ult if it does get tricky. And the thing is, the thing with LeBlanc is she will just whittle you down if the Azir is matching into her, constantly using the static shiv. The Gragas just sustains through it, so Bro can hold on like this, maybe not indefinitely. Definitely can for now, although they've actually opted to swap the Azir bot lane. Interesting.
Might have been because Morgan kind of got killed by Poby, and so just didn't like the idea. Poby is going to be able to get rid of this bottom outer turret. That will extend the advantage just a little bit more here for T1. And I think Bro really need to start getting around and start taking some of these turrets, figuring out a way to open up this map for themselves.
I think the mid-tier one's obviously going to be the massive one. It's so hard against a Jinx with a Thresh, because obviously Jinx has that AoE on the rockets, and Thresh is that safety net that makes it very hard to find like an engage. And realistically, like as much as there are tools for the side of Brion, Thresh is pretty good at answering a lot of them. You know, if Rakan does try to go in, you can obviously flay away, you can Lantern. Umti has to do so much work to close distance, so it's going to be hard for Bro to really accelerate the pace of this game, but that feels very okay, Bro. You know, just playing it cool, playing it simple.
Okay, man, Bro, maybe.
You could go as far.
Yeah, okay, savings bank, Bro.
Man.
Brion. Would agree. Baron is now spawned. It's been up for about 3 minutes' time. And T1, it does feel like T1 has this game where they want it at this point in time. We haven't really seen the same floundering that we have seen in some of their other ones. This is looking much better, I think, but it is still slow. And Bro are still scaling, you know? But Bro often have that vibe of we're scaling until our Nexus explodes. And that is not necessarily what you want to see. They still need to pull the trigger at some point. But like Karis right now, 2 items completed. 2 items completed for Henna as well as Kraken Slayer is done. You've got Zonya's completed here for Morgan. That initial spike has come in for this composition. And maybe there is going to be an opportunity to find that team fight that they're looking for, because T1, they have cleared a bunch of vision around this Baron. As looks for Keria, but there is a piggy that does come through, as Gumayusi does have to get out of the way of the Gragas. That is Gale Force now on cooldown for the next little while.
Good opportunity found there with the roam from Morgan, and obviously the Lantern already on cooldown, so Gumayusi have to use the Gale Force. It won't be up for Dragon, I think it's a critical thing, even though it's obviously a much lower cooldown than any Summoners. But it does mean that maybe Bro can look to capitalize on that. They're moving in pretty early on with 30 seconds to go, trying to get complete vision control over the area before T1 move their side laners in. You can see now Poby's got priority, and he is now trying to move over and start to wake up that harass.
Yeah, and
so I'm looking for before.
Cloud Rift actually works really well with Skarner. Having that movement speed advantage that you can get out of and then find that ultimate can really help, especially when his Spires are involved as well. Kind of cool to see that one. As moving back now, Oner taking a little bit of damage as Zeus losing out in this trade against Morgan. The Lord himself taking some control up here. Doesn't find that barrel though, as the Drake has been started. Teleport to come through from Morgan. He'll get here first, but T1 not wanting to give this one up. This is soul point for Bro. It's going down so quickly though, and Oner not going to be able to get into the pit. That is just secured. Now the prison comes through though. Effort just battle dances his way out though, and it's just fine. Morgan finds an Everfrost, and there is the Impale. The Piggy should go down, but no, the Lantern is going to keep him alive. Emperor's Divide used once again onto Zeus, but now it's Henna's turn to do the damage. Morgan gets the flash out from Poby, and they're just not dying. It's a double kill for Zeus now as Karis. He's on the wrong side of the fight, and Bro have to give it up. Triple kill for the Jacks.
Huge team fight for T1, and honestly, Bro managed everything so well until it came to the fight itself, where they just got absolutely gapped by T1. Such good use, balancing their health bars, everyone going in and out so effectively. It looked like Bro was so close just to cleaning up.
Yeah.
But it never quite came through. They never could connect on the low health targets. And T1 end up coming through strong. They don't get the Dragon, but they'll be definitely happy with a Baron instead.
Yeah, and they will be able to collect it here. Some low health bars, but that doesn't matter because there is no one in the area. Inner turret also going to go down. Let's have a look at this fight one more time, and it was just the navigation of the health bars. Like, T1 had no interest in this Dragon.
Yeah, and they end up going for the ult onto Oner to try and burst him down. But he survives long enough to get the Lantern out again. And then you can see Effort goes in, trying to look at the damage. They disengage Zeus. He's getting so much value in here. Henna looking to try and capitalize. Overzealous, but gets hooked, and it just feels like constantly Bro see blood in the water, but they aren't able to solidify. And a bit of a mistake on the back end there.
Yeah, I'm not
to
sure.
say from Karis, went way too deep, but you know, this rotation of cooldowns, things like the Lantern, the Counter-Strike from the Jax, the Distortion from the LeBlanc, means a target can look like they're, you know, close to death, but actually, if you chase them, it becomes significantly harder, and Bro's comp does a lot better at peeling backwards than it does at, like, running at the enemy team.
And that looks to be what their game plan is, right? You saw once again Karis using his Emperor's Divide purely on Zeus to get him off Henna, but then Henna's unable to actually do any damage, right? Yep. So you need to actually be able to get towards Gumayusi as well in these fights, because you saw it was just rocket after rocket after rocket, and not a lot of answer from Bro. And now T1 with this Baron looking to siege up this inner turret. The gold lead starting to get pretty ridiculous now as well. Yeah. The money starts to come through. Gumayusi taking a bit of damage as Henna does go forward with his Gale Force. They just back away.
I think what's frustrating is the fact that before, like, Morgan had chunked Zeus, which led to them rushing the Dragon. The setup was so good, and yet they opted in that fight.
All right, there's an aggressive Emperor's Divide onto Poby. Finds the Gragas ulti as well. The quickness comes down, and they lock down Poby. They probably could have used some of those mechanics in the last team fight, but, you know, you'll take it when you can get it. Still, inner turret now going to be taken here on this top side, and T1 not really missing a beat.
Yeah, so it does mean the Baron push will be ended a minute early with them finding this pick here. So Poby just, again, looks for Morgan, tries to find the kill, so close to getting it, but kind of baited in there by the rotation. The problem is, despite this, it does stop the Baron push, but T1 got so much gold, and are now 8,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, no, it is kind of nutty. And I don't really want to say this because people like, you know, snappy, fast League of Legends where there's a lot that could happen. Bro have a 2 Drake buffer. So if they are able to hold on, as, you know, That is going to be a tall order. It's 8,000 gold now, the lead. T1 kind of feeling like they could just steamroll the enemy base. But if somehow Bro are just able to continue weathering, and it's going to be a while until there's an Elder.
That pick on a Poby was pretty big because they didn't break the base. Maybe with a bit more time, they could have broken Inhibitor and it would have gotten a little bit more difficult for Bro to hold on. But they still have all 3 Inhibitor towers intact. They have a lot of wave clear. In theory, they could hold on. I think it's definitely the right call to give up this Dragon, though.
Oh, yeah. I think a single Cloud not really going to be the end of the world. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that perhaps this could be a game that continues for quite some time. Next Baron should be what T1 can use to take a victory.
That's a big one.
As Karis does finish his Void Staff, I think so much of this game is going to hinge on what the next Emperor's Divide and Impale is going to look like, and whether or not Morgan can find a big cask as well.
And you know, Umti's kind of just been using it on Oner, which I don't think is the best target because Sejuani is pretty tanky.
Yeah.
Is kind of the way people phrase it. I think Zeus would be a much better target because when you Impale him, you can't counter-strike, and a lot of his tankiness comes from being able to block those auto attacks, so yeah, that's probably the call in my opinion. A better target than just trying to kill a Sejuani. And, you know, Bro are like, one Cloud Drake, unthinkable. We cannot give it up. We must fight this.
Well, it also does bring T1 over here for a team fight. Maybe that's what Bro are looking for, as Karis taking a lot of damage. Glacial Prison does come down. Umpty says he doesn't really care about it, but Morgan, he needs to be a little bit worried. Karis looking for Poby off on the back end as Morgan goes gold and Emperor's Divide once again used onto the Jax, who this time is going to be taken down. It's now Oner's turn. He gets body slammed. The flash out from Umpty, a double kill now as Henna's gone crazily far forward, but he is going to survive. Does use the flash this time in order to escape. T1 still on the offensive though, as it's Bro now with the lower health bars. This is Cloud Soul though, remember this is close to all of the marbles, the most important soul in the history of League of Legends. And Bro, they understood that. They're not going to sit back and allow one Cloud Drake to go over to T1. No! We are team fighting and we are winning.
And they are now
Cloud Soul
so fast around the map.
Oh yeah.
You know, things like effort on the Rakar, I'm going to appreciate this quite a bit. But also, in terms of moving around...
It's called the quickness. Shouldn't it be called the zoominess now? Like a large,
I think
really
that's how
quickness?
We refer it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fight, look how differently things go when they deal with the Jax. So Counter-Strike countered by the Emperor's Divide, and then they just ult him. And look how quickly he dies. Look how much better that is than ulting the Sejuani.
Yeah.
It works so much better. And as soon as they take out that front line, and this is how Bro want to play their comp, is deal with the dive who are coming towards you, deal with the front line, take them out, and then let your Azir and Aphelios just free hit. And it worked. So yeah, keep that up. Bro approaching this fight far better. They now have that Cloud Soul in hand, and they seem to be feeling very confident about their chances in a fight right now, because they're starting that Baron.
Yeah, and Umpty is going to be zooming as well on this Skarner. As my goodness, this Baron does not last very long whatsoever. Morgan looking for Oner. Hook is going to connect there, but Effort not going to get locked down. The prison does come through, and Effort grand exits to try and get himself out. Zeus gets into the back line, but it's not quite enough. The cask is gorgeous from Morgan. And T1, they lose their Jax yet again. Bro take the Baron. They've got the soul. It was 8,000 gold.
It was so much, and they've just brought it back. And you know what? You saw them turning away from that Baron. How fast they were. It's the difference maker.
Well, if they had had, you know, one of these worse souls like a Hextech or an Infernal, they wouldn't have been going nearly that fast.
Yeah, they've really accelerated in this game.
Let's see what he did there. As Bro are they're leveling up during this game. These teams, it's like they figured out, oh yes, this is exactly what we need to adjust for the next team fight. They are learning and they are improving. And they have found it. Look at that cask. This time the cask is layered gorgeously in the team fight.
Yeah, and it's just, they've decided that what they should do is one, ult the Jax instead of the Sejuani.
Yeah.
But also, just kill the closest target, you know? I think Umpty was kind of hyped up like, oh, let's try and run in, grab someone important. And now they're just like, you know what? If they're near enough for us to hit, we hit them. If not, we run away.
Yeah.
And it's a good strategy. It honestly works out well.
It is working pretty well right now as finally, this outer turret is going to fall. Bro just needed a Baron in order to get there. This gold lead is just evaporating. Hook is going to connect onto Henna. The Flame Chomper's not quite close enough, though, as you can see. Oh my goodness, Effort just explodes to the Super Mega Death Rocket.
Yes.
And now Zeus gets into the backline, but it's Morgan that stops the onslaught. Karis is going to get here. The hook goes just wide. Morgan buys some time and some space, but that advantage that Bro had has just been destroyed.
Felt like they got a bit too close to the sun on that one.
Yeah.
Hubris was their downfall, a bit overconfident, and now T1 don't have Baron themselves, so Karis should just be able to clear this wave up, but damage is being done to the base so far.
Yeah, and Gumayusi, if he gets any sort of time with... Oh, okay, Flash does come out there as Umpty. Doesn't use his because he doesn't have it. Does make sense. If Gumayusi gets any time with any of these turrets and can hit them, he has a lot of range and does a lot of damage. 3 items have now been completed.
I think that's a valid statement to make. And here, just, you know, it's a fantastic hook here by Keria, which doesn't immediately lead to something, but the Glacial Orb, when slow on the ground, makes it hard to disengage. Effort tries to create space and gets taken out. And then Zeus, beautiful flank, but also Morgan doing a fantastic job of peeling there for Henna.
That could have been game, honestly,
yeah, that
if
really
he doesn't get that body slam.
You know, Lord Morgan says, run,
yes,
and I will cover for you.
Exactly. Fly, you fools. That's precisely it. He's a bit, it's a bit like Gandalf. Was Gandalf a bit of a lord? He had a lordly vibe.
I think so.
I mean, he's Sir Ian McKellen.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, so technically he's not.
He's a Sir, not a lord.
Yeah. Still, you don't know.
Close enough.
I don't know enough about what lords are. I know you do.
Yeah. Let's not get into
from there, but I don't think we want to get into that one.
Yeah, if we wanted to have this conversation, we had about 20 minutes where not much was happened.
Yeah, that's true. So British politics probably not where we're going to go with T1 versus Bro. As
with Elder in a minute and a half, I don't think we have time.
Is it going to be the flip scenario? Perhaps that was on T1's minds this whole time. They're like, we will give them a Cloud Soul. We will just
I can imagine
really cool dragon.
In draft, the coaches are like, okay, here's the strategy, and it's like a whole page of steps, and at the end, it's like, flip Elder and win.
Yeah, and we'll just see how that one goes. Everfrost's going to slow down Poby here as Effort books it, finds the LeBlanc, and all of the buddies turn up, and it's Effort's the one that's actually able to take down the kill as well. So they get the split pusher.
That was obviously good. It was a fantastic pick there. Really well predicted by Morgan, but it was also a little bit too soon because Poby's going to spawn when the Elder does, and he has TP. So we'll just be able to turn back up. But yeah, Morgan finding Poby here, and again, predicts the W back with the barrel, which I'm not sure was necessarily needed to confirm the kill, but still nice regardless. And now it does give Bro a lot of pressure on the map. They have 30 seconds to get position over Elder, but as I said, Poby, TP will be up. He will be back up in time for it.
He can fight for it, but they can't fight for control of the river. And I think that control of the river is going to be important here, especially when Umpty can just zoom out from this Cloud Rift and go extraordinarily quickly. He presses his Impale button. You are on the other side of the map, and you've just blinked. That is how it goes. That is how fast this Lawnmower
flank TP
does travel. As like you were talking about, in goes Poby. He's running pretty fast. They see the ward go down. And now, Bro are just wasting no time. They are not messing around. They just want to kill dragons. That is what they want to do. And they also want to kill Poby, who takes so much damage here. These flanks are getting more and more difficult for the LeBlanc, who has so much damage, but there's the Impale! They take him so far back! Oner eventually goes golden, but there is the cast. That is going to deliver the kill over to Henna as they find Zeus, but he finds the backline. Empress Divide doesn't land onto the Jax this time, but Henna is still alive. Effort maybe not so lucky as Karis dives on top of Poby. He's going for the full turnaround. Poby, no! Oh, dear, Moonlight Vigil is going to come through as well, and now T1, they only have 3 members still alive, and not one of them is a jungler. The Flame Chompers come through, but Umpty's not going to land on top of them. Gumayusi's still full health, but can he actually do anything? Henna tries to take matters into his own hands.
That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, he just does not have the health bar to get themselves in here. Bro are going to be able to take themselves the Elder. The Baron is up as well. Exodia is on the table. And in game number 1, at close to 40 minutes, it could be Bro marching up the mid lane yet again.
You know, Bro leavers are patient, and they are being rewarded right now. The Elder in pocket, beautifully navigated team fight, and now Baron should be theirs as well. What are T1 going to be able to do?
Well, I mean, that is a lot of buffs. That is a lot of extra stats, you know, but even if you collect all of your buffs, sometimes you still can't kill the boss, even though it's considered quite easy.
Here's the thing, when you have Elder, what you want to do, you want to fight. And sometimes the enemy team will run away, but
Yeah.
you have Cloud Soul.
Oh,
which will
running
make
away
that more
does get
difficult.
more difficult.
Yeah.
Cloud Soul,
And I think
that is true.
the thing that's changed now is this Sejuani doesn't feel nearly as tanky with the itemization that's come in. So the ult just deletes Oner here.
Morgan! He finds it again. Another body slam on the leap strike King Jack.
He's been playing it so well. Honestly, Bro's team fighting in this game, there was that one exception for the most part. It's been so exceptional. Karius going so confidently over the wall solo to take out Poby. And then here, Gumayusi trying his best but just can't find it.
And the bro levers on the edge of their seats. It is not over yet, and they have everything. You know, all of the stuff is there. A minute left on this Elder as well. This inner turret should go down, but T1, everyone is back up and alive again. They just need to wait this 1 minute of Elder before they go for any sort of fight and see whether they can kill the minions bearing down on the map. As
there is a lot of wave clear.
502 movement speed for the Aphelios.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's rather a decent amount. I think that's the thing that, you know, obviously everyone thinks about the movement speed you get when you ult, but the passive 15% is very substantial when it comes to trying to jump on top of an AD carry. And yeah, the tower's just going to get obliterated here. 30 seconds, T1 need to hold on. I don't think Bro can end in that time. But if they find a pick, maybe they'll be able to do it.
Just have to see, as Poby still trying to find that poke damage. And he needs to keep doing this, right? He is LeBlanc. That is the identity of the champion. But Bro, they are just playing this one by the numbers. Second inhibitor is going to fall.
12 seconds.
And these Qs that connect, man, Oner is a tank. But you wouldn't really know. That was through Frost Armor as well as Umpty gets hooked.
4 seconds.
Not feeling like a death sentence, but like you were saying, it's now time that T1 could go for it, and immediately Oner throws out the Glacial Prison effort. The quick Jack comes down, the Jax gets into the back lane, but he's just charmed up and destroyed! Nexus turret's now the only thing standing between Bro and a Game 1 victory, and Hannah says goodbye to your health bars as the Moonlight Vigil comes down. Morgan's flashing in, and they wipe the floor with the Jinx. This is gonna be it. Bro will take game number 1 against T1, and they came back from an 8,000 gold deficit.
And you know what?